This is Matty from Beanflipper talking to Heavy about Necrosonic Festival, which we're quite excited about.
Fantastic. Matty, excited is the word, mate. I think there's a lot of people excited about this one.
I know, well, it's 20 years for us, so we're very excited.
You've got a lot of pent-up aggression to get out.
Well, yeah, probably. It's actually been a lot easier than I thought, like getting to know the songs, considering 20 years. But, it's like now it's down to what I call the footy training side of it, where every week you've got to go into the rehearsal room, smash out 2 sets to get the fitness up. I mean, it's a bit like an endurance game, really.
You'll be fine, mate. I'll back you in. So, as you mentioned, Beanflipper returned to the stage on August the 23rd as part of Necrosonic Festival at the Mansfield Tavern in Brisbane. So, we've just run over how long it's been, bro, but how are you actually feeling? Like, is it excitement? Is it nervous? Is it relief?
Oh, no, we're all really excited. I've been quite humbled by the response that we've received. Like, people are just so chuffed that we're back together again. When I first sort of sneakily announced it on my own Facebook, there were heaps of people going, "What, are you bullshitting us? You can't tease us like that." And then it just went off. And then I put a video of our first rehearsal after 20 years up, and on my page alone, it got 1,000 views. And then I put it on the band's page, and it got another 700 views. And I was like, "Oakley dokley!" Like, there's obviously people are wanting to see us, and it's sort of been fun. I mean, I've been in bands since, but most of the stuff I've played since is, but I've played a bit of punk rock. But the other band I'm in right now is like sort of go-betweensy almost. Like, as a drummer, I sort of just glue it together. I don't have to drive it, so I've actually quite enjoyed getting my rock pig out again, and actually I've actually went out and bought a special pair of 2B drumsticks just to do it, to get a bit of weight behind it. And the other band, I'm forced to play with hot rods.
Oh, shit. Oh, I'm sure over the years, bro, there's been lots of people asked for the band to play and get back together for a gig. So why say yes to Kent and Necrosonic?
Oh, look, if you'd asked me that question a couple of years ago, I would have said there's no hope. We split up in 98, then got back together in 2004, I think it was, for about a year and a bit, because our last gig in 98 was terrible. The Webby, the lead guitarist, had a broken arm, so it was only 4 of us on stage. Rocket, who plays rhythm, was really pissed. And we played the most abysmal show we've ever played. Like, it was the worst gig the band had ever played. Unbeknownst to us, it was grand final day in 98. It was at the Toad that night. And it turned out it was our last gig ever. And in 2004, I just went, look, we've got unfinished business. We can't just leave it like that. That was fucking awful, that gig. So we then got back together for a little while, did it, and then this time round, like, we thought we had our last show at the Art House in Melbourne when it was still going, in about 2005, and we thought we bettered it, but Kent just was looking on Facebook. I saw a message where he goes, someone tagged me, I think, and said, does anyone know anyone from Beanflipper? And so I contacted him, and he proposed to me, we'll fly you here, we'll give you accommodation, and we'll give you this amount of money. And I was like, well, all right, that's something. And so I basically, because we've pretty much been in contact over the years anyway. And so I contacted them all, except for Rick. We were having a hard time finding Rick, the singer. But everyone was like, fuck, why not? Let's fucking do it. And then we also realized that this year's like the 30th anniversary of our first CD. So it was like, well, so sort of fits. So yeah, we just went, fuck it, let's give it a go, I mean, me and Rocket, the rhythm guitarist who writes all the songs, did get together for 2 jams before the rest of the guys got on board, just to see if we still had it.
Yep.
And after 2 jams, we were like, sure, I think we've still got it. And so we got everyone in, and it's been good since then, pretty much.
Very
Other
nice.
than a certain member went missing for a little while, but we won't go into that.
It happens on the big jobs, mate.
Yeah.
Necrosonic is a great festival. It's got 30 bands over 3 stages, 12 hours. Like, they're predominantly Australian, but they're predominantly the harder edge of Australian music. Like, how important is it for shows like this for the sustainability, I guess, of the metal future of Australian bands?
Well, from what I can tell, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not really. You're probably talking to the less interested in heavy metal person out of the band. But I'm not that judgmental. I'll play any sort of music. I don't. If it floats my boat, I'll do it. I don't really care. But I must say, I have missed playing this style of music. But I think it is really important because it seems like the whole venue scene now is so tied down, and it's really hard to get gigs. And I mean, I don't know whether that's financial woes with pubs not being able to be financially sustainable on just selling beer as they used to be. And so now it seems like you've really got to put bums on seats to even get a gig, whereas that was always the case. But now it seems like to be an important factor from what I'm going with. I got a 4-page PDF from the people that run the Bendigo's booking, and with all the dealios and the conditions and stuff. And I'm going, man, didn't it used to be someone working 2 days a week? Some muso would be the booking agent for most pubs who do it part-time. But so, yeah, I think it is good to have grassroots. I mean, Necrosonic, from what I can tell, is very grassroots. It's not some big industry thing. It's like people that are enthusiastic into this style of music putting it on. So it's really important, I think.
Yeah, damn straight. And this year's Necrosonic features bands like Portal, Bolzer, Alarum, Frankenblock, Witchgrinder, Flaming Records, heaps more, mate. But are there any bands that stand out to you personally? Like, who are you most looking forward to seeing and catching up with?
Oh, I wish I'd got someone else online here, because I'm going to be very honest and say, other than Frankenbot, I don't really know any of those bands. But that's because it's, for me, I'm a bit more of a rock and roll guy. So if you said something like the Viagra Boys, I'd be going, whoa, but but I sort of take bands as I see them, when I see them, sort of thing, or hear them. I'm not really, I mean, the only 2 types of music I'm not really that keen on is Americana and jazz fusion. To be honest, anything other than that, I'm pretty, if I like it, I like it,
Yeah, fair call. Fair call. Now, the thing about festivals is there's so many bands playing, like you say, like you only know a couple of bands, so there's going to be people coming along that don't know many of the bands. So just say one of those people doesn't know much about Beanflipper. Like, give us a bit of history on the band and bring him up to speed.
Well, we started in 93, and it was out of Rocket's previous band, Warp Spasm, which was sort of like a punky, grind, crusty band. He got his friend Webby from the country involved, who's more of a metal person. We did have Bucky singing originally, and a guy called Dan, who I was in a band with, a punk sort of metally band back in the day called Mole Grinder. We came in and joined. Then in 90, we did a demo. Then in 94, we swapped Dan out for Sean, who plays bass now, and we swapped Bucky out for Rick, to which then that was the lineup that went on to record Total Dysfunctional, Road and Ulcer, and Garden Variety Manic Depressant. So we probably played an intense amount for about 5 years, till about 98. And then, as I was saying, in Grand Final Day 1998, I think after years of touring and hanging out together, we played this shit gig. We sort of went on hiatus for a month or so, and then it sort of just fell apart. And yeah, that was it. And then back in 2004, we decided to bring it back. But we've always been a band of, like, I think we've got massive roots in sort of punk hardcore, like your Dischargey, D-Beaty sort of stuff. But we also, you know, we also used to listen to, back in the day, a shit ton of Caius. We loved that Blues for a Red Sun, that album.
Great album.
They were right into stoner metal, some which I think that sort of influenced in there. And plus we used to play, when we were in the early days, we played a lot with Cryspate, Blood Duster, Damaged. You know, Rick, who's the singer, was in a band called Wicker Man. He was mates with Squiz and Egg from Dreadnought. Like, he was part of that Tassie contingent that came over here in the early 90s, came to Melbourne in the early 90s. Yeah, I mean, we're sort of to describe us to someone that hasn't seen us, we're a little bit of a mixed bag of hardcore meets sort of stoner metal meets sort of slower sort of that sludgy doomy metal, and then a little bit of funk in there, sort of. I mean, that's probably my influence, because I've always had an attitude of, me and the bass player were almost the ones that kept the sound a little bit rock rather than being fully metal, because I used to, a lot of the time the boys would be playing grind riffs and I'd go, no, fuck that, I'm going to quarter time that, you can do all the work. And then I'd maybe do one pass of the riff as a grind, but the first two as a halftime beat, slowed down beat, because I was always like, well, I'm not really a metal drummer, to be honest. Like, I do play double kick, but I'm not. I've always said I'm actually a bit of a hack. I play whatever. If a band's really good and I play in it, I'm really good. If I'm in a band that they're a bit shit, I'm a bit shit as well. Like, I just rise to the occasion at the moment, but I've sort of never been one for rudiments and shit. I'm actually started doing a bit more rudiments now after 38 years of playing drums. I've actually gone, maybe I should learn to do a proper double straight roll. Maybe now's the time.
Now's the right time. Along those lines, mate, like, give us 3 songs of yours and the people can listen to before they come along to get to know the band.
All right. Holy Stain. Holy Stain. Let's have a cross the section here. Falling Apart, and let's say Your Grotesqueness. They're 3 songs, because we're just doing this time round. We're just doing our first album. We're just doing Total Dysfunctional Collapse.
Okay.
We possibly might be doing a song off the demo, which as well, which is also on Garden Variety Main Depressant, where we re-recorded it. We might be doing that, but we're just sticking with the first album. I actually listened to the second album the other day, and I actually was like, wow, I'm glad we're not doing that, because that'd take a lot longer to fucking learn. It's a lot more complicated. Kent asked me last night whether we were doing anything off Garden Variety Manic Depressant, and I was just like, no. I think that might be it. Maybe next year we might concentrate on learning that. But that will be a big learning curve. Like, it was so odd that the album that we did first was the one that we all seemed to have the most muscle memory with. It wasn't that hard to relearn. It was just like, oh yeah, I remember this goes there. Whereas I was listening to a bit of then I walked into the office the other day when I had it on, the Garden Variety Manic Depressant on, and was like, what the fuck's this song? I don't remember this bit. And then the next bit of the song started, and I was like, oh, right, yeah, it's that one. And I was like, Jesus, glad we're not doing this one. Though we did have a fiddle around the other day. Rocket started playing one of the songs off Road Nelson, and we're like, oh yeah, we could manage that, because we sort of, without even, most of 3 of us sort of knew where it was going. Sort of, it was a bit foggy, but you know,
baby steps, mate. Baby steps.
yeah, baby, indeed.
Now, effectively, these songs are all recorded last century, like written, recorded last century. I know. When you've been to relearn them again, like, do you think they've stood the test of time, or do they still feel fresh?
Yeah, they don't feel antiquated. I know they don't feel very antiquated or old, but yeah, I reckon they've stood the test of time. They're I mean, for us, this album, the album we're doing is the more punkier side of us, because I know in Garden Variety Main Depressant we went a little bit more, we're a little bit more metal, whereas this album's a bit more punk hardcore at times. Like there's a lot of sort of punk hardcore riffs in there. But yeah, I reckon they've done all right. I mean, hey, the world's ending and everyone's looking backwards now anyway.
Yeah, the size of it, isn't it?
I've said that for years. I've said that for years. It's like this obsession with retro, and it's like no one wants to look to the future anymore because they don't really like what they see, so they just looking the other way and going, remember back in the 90s, it was really cool back then.
A lot better.
Yeah. Well, for one, there was a welfare state to support young musicians to actually develop their craft, which I feel sorry for kids these days because they don't get to live that lifestyle. Is where I used to call it the government art subsidy, basically being on the dole. I mean,
so many good musicians these days came from that school. They like you say, they lived on the dole so they could hone their craft and go out and tour. And a lot of people that have actually made something of themselves these days were brought up with that system.
I know it was weird. I was in a band that I was in late 90s. When was it? Early 90s, reformed to like I think around 2008. No, about 2012. And I found it quite odd going to a rehearsal room and at the end seeing everyone, most bands load out by 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, yeah, that's because they've got to get up and go to a fucking job tomorrow, you know?
Exactly.
Like they don't have the luxury that we had when we were that age where it'd kick on at the rehearsal and then you'd probably go elsewhere after rehearsal.
And you go and watch other bands and that keeps the cycle going.
Or go back to someone's house and get off your face. One of the two, like, and have a bit of
or
a night
both.
of it. Yeah, or both, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. All right, Matty. Well, thanks very much for your time, mate. You've been a pleasure. Beanflipper are back together after 20 years at Necrosonic in Brisbane on August the 23rd. So they're just one of a few bands, but sounds like it's going to be a highlight, brother. Looking forward to catching up.
I know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking to we're hoping to smash it out big time, really. Like, it's like I've said to them ever since we started doing this, I don't want to look like a bunch of sad old fucks on stage. So we need to rehearse lots.
Well, I'll be there, mate. I'll judge you. And if you're sad old fucks, I'll tell you you're sad old fucks. How's that sound?
Thanks.